You think you're broke because of bad luck, the economy, your job, your bills. You're not. You're broke because of a handful of beliefs sitting quietly in your head. Beliefs you've never questioned because they don't feel like lies. They feel like common sense. I'll invest when I make more. It's too late for me to start. Each one is a slow leak, and slow leaks don't show up as a crisis. They show up 10 years from now, when you realize how much money you left on the table, while the people who started early are already living off what compounding built for them. Here are the 6 beliefs quietly killing your wealth, and the one that's probably running your life right now without you even knowing it. Belief 1. Comparison spending. It starts small. A coworker gets a new car. A friend posts a vacation. Someone in your group chat upgrades their phone the day it drops. And something in you shifts. Not envy exactly, just pressure. A quiet feeling that you're falling behind. So you spend. Not because you needed it, because you needed to not feel behind. That's comparison spending. And it doesn't feel like a mistake in the moment. It feels like catching up. Here's what makes it dangerous. You're not actually competing against people. You're competing against a highlight reel. You're seeing their car, not their car payment. Their vacation, not their credit card statement when they get home. So you're not matching their life. You're matching their image and spending real money to do it. Every dollar spent matching someone else's image is a dollar that can't compound for your actual future. The people who build real wealth aren't the ones who look the richest. They're often invisible, driving the same car for 10 years, dressed exactly like everyone else, completely unbothered by what anyone thinks they have, because they stopped playing a game that was never about money in the first place. It was about belonging. And the moment you stop needing to prove you belong, you stop bleeding money to people who were never even watching that closely. Belief 2. I deserve this. A hard week? A bad day at work? A goal you finally hit? And the thought shows up almost automatically. I deserve this. So you buy it. The dinner you didn't need to order out. The thing you'd been resisting. And it feels good, not just the purchase, but the justification. Because this isn't impulse. This is reward. I deserve this doesn't feel like a money mistake. It feels like self-care. Here's the problem. There's always a hard week. There's always a bad day. Life will hand you an endless supply of reasons to deserve something, which means this isn't a one-time treat. It's a permission system that never runs out of permission. And the moment spending becomes the reward, you stop noticing how often you're rewarding yourself. 5 I deserve this moments a month don't feel like a pattern. They feel like 5 separate, justified decisions, until you add them up and realize they were never about the thing. They were about the feeling. Real self-care isn't expensive. Debt is. The version of you that actually deserves a good life isn't the one who buys relief every time things get hard. It's the one who builds a life solid enough that they don't need constant rescuing from a purchase. You don't owe yourself a reward for surviving a hard week. You owe yourself a future where hard weeks don't cost you money you don't have. Belief 3. I'll invest when I make more. It sounds responsible. Almost disciplined. I'll invest once I'm earning more. Right now, I need every dollar just to get by. It feels like patience, like you're not avoiding investing, you're just waiting for the right moment. The moment when there's finally enough breathing room to start. But that moment never actually arrives on its own, because the belief isn't really about income, it's about comfort, and comfort has a way of expanding to match whatever you earn. Here's what nobody tells you. The income never feels like enough. Not at your current salary, not at double it. Lifestyle rises right alongside income. So the gap you're waiting to close never actually closes. You get the raise, and somehow there's still nothing left over. Meanwhile, the thing you're postponing is the one variable that actually rewards starting early over starting big. A small amount invested now has more time to grow than a large amount invested later. Time does work that income can't replace. So I'll invest when I make more doesn't delay the start of your investing. It often cancels it completely, quietly, without you ever deciding to quit. You don't need more money to start investing. You need a smaller amount and an earlier date. $50 a month at 25 outgrows $500 a month started at 45, not because the math is clever, but because time is the one ingredient you can't buy back later. Start with what you have. The income will come. The decade you spent waiting won't. Belief 4. I'll start saving for retirement later. I have time. Retirement feels far away. Decades away sometimes. And when something feels that distant, your brain doesn't treat it like a real deadline. It treats it like someone else's problem, a future stranger's problem. So I have time isn't really a financial calculation. It's a feeling, the comfortable, low-stakes feeling that this can wait. Here's the trap. There's no single moment where later turns into too late. No alarm goes off. You don't feel poorer at 30 for not starting. You just feel exactly the same as everyone else who also hasn't started. The damage is invisible because it's happening in a version of your life you haven't lived yet. And by the time retirement stops feeling distant, by the time it's 10 or 15 years out instead of 30, the easiest, cheapest years to fix it are already gone. You're not just starting later. You're starting at the most expensive possible time to start. The fix isn't motivation. It's making your future self less of a stranger, picturing them specifically enough that their problem becomes your problem now. Because that version of you isn't hypothetical. They're getting built right now. With every year you either invest in them or don't. Belief 5. More money will fix this. It feels like the most logical explanation for every money problem. If I just earned more, this would all be fine. The stress, the tight months, the constant juggling, surely it's an income problem. So you chase the raise, the promotion, the side hustle, convinced that the number on your paycheck is the thing standing between you and financial peace. Here's what that belief conveniently ignores. Money problems are usually habit problems wearing an income costume. If spending always rises to meet whatever comes in, then more income doesn't close the gap. It just moves the gap to a bigger number. This is exactly why people earning 6 figures can still feel broke, and why lottery winners go bankrupt. The income changed, the habits underneath it didn't. And habits, not income, are what actually decide whether money sticks or disappears. So, more money will fix this quietly lets you off the hook from fixing the one thing that was actually broken. How you handle money, not how much of it you have. More income is a multiplier, not a fix. It multiplies whatever system is already underneath it. Good habits compound faster, bad habits just go broke at a higher income. Fix the system first. The money you already have is the best practice round you'll ever get for the money you don't have yet. Belief 6. Investing is just gambling. Someone mentions the stock market, and the image that shows up is a casino, flashing numbers, people losing everything overnight, pure luck dressed up as strategy. So the belief forms fast. Investing is just gambling for people who are okay with risking their money. And since you're not a gambler, the safest move is obvious. Don't play the game at all. Here's where the comparison breaks down. Gambling is betting on random chance with a built-in house edge designed to make you lose over time. Long-term investing is the opposite. You're buying a small piece of real businesses that historically grow in value over decades, with the odds actually in your favor the longer you stay in. The real risk isn't in the market. It's in calling it gambling and using that as a reason to stay out, because the money sitting safely in a savings account isn't actually safe. It's losing value every year to inflation, quietly, just slower than a bad bet would. So avoiding the gamble doesn't protect your money. It just guarantees a different, slower kind of loss, one that doesn't feel risky because nothing dramatic ever happens. It just quietly never grows. Gambling and investing are opposites dressed in the same scary outfit. One is betting against the odds for excitement. The other is buying time and patience and letting decades of growth do the work. The real gamble is assuming doing nothing is the safe choice. 6 beliefs, all of them quiet. None of them feel dangerous in the moment. That's exactly why they work. But here's the thing about beliefs. Unlike habits, you don't have to slowly unlearn them. You just have to see them clearly, once, and they lose most of their power immediately. If this gave you something to think about, that's exactly what wealth theory is here for. Subscribe if you want more of this, and let me know in the comments which belief hit closest to home.